Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of Janner TV. My name is Paul, and I'm joined tonight by Aaron, Brian, and Mike, and we are here to discuss 5 or 6 topical questions regarding our beloved club, Plymouth Argyle. So the first question, guys, which I think is going to be an interesting one, and we'll try and do it one at a time, is what do you expect from January's transfer window? Incomings and outgoings?
$1 million question, really, isn't it? I think personally, I mean, it depends on who and the quality of the additions that Derek can get in, personally.
I think what we do need is the defence got to be strengthened. You know, right across the back four, we've had a problem all season. Gary Sawyer's come back, that's probably a plus, but the rest of it, we just definitely need strengthening.
I would agree with Mike, but I would also say that we need to try and get a different keeper in, because from watching Matt, he's not the best of players. He spills a lot and he's tall for crosses, but he can't get down quick enough to the low shots.
Don't you think playing behind that defence is a big problem? Whoever you had playing behind that flipping defence, you'd have a problem, right? Because they're all over the place.
I was going to say that's interesting because I think Matt is a decent goalkeeper, but his confidence is taken a with all the goals he's let in due to the fallibility of the people in front of him.
Absolutely. When he first came, the first 3 games I watched him play, I thought he was a really, really good keeper. You know, he was quite confident. He'd come out for crosses. He'd come out, you know, and command his area quite well. And it's just, to me, the more he's played, the further he's been withdrawn into a shell, for want of a better phrase. And I really do think he, especially with the pressure of the crowd, and you know, he's a young lad. You know, they do hear things in the pipeline, whether they read social media or not. And I think personally it does affect them. And he's, you know, the more pressure he's becoming under, I think the worse he's been playing. And it's a shame because I do think that he could be a really good keeper.
It was interesting we declined to take up the offer with Harry Burgoyne, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a surprise, a real surprise. I mean, I thought he would have come back. Not seen the guy,
but then again, do we know the full story? They parted amicably, and it's a joint decision. But you know, they're not going to turn around and say Wolves didn't want us to have him because they've seen the way we play and they think they're put under too much pressure, are they? You know, they're just going to say that it's you know.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to see if he gets a goalkeeper in this window. Right? If he gets a keeper in this window, then there's obviously something untoward about Bygone.
I don't know. You know, is it a case of, do we need him now we've got Macy? If we can shore up a defence, you know.
Yeah, fair comment.
And then Macy gets his mojo back and away we go. And let's be fair, it's not just Macy that's lost his mojo, it's
the
represented the team, really.
Yeah. I think personally that Derek is hoping that Joe Riley, who hasn't had the most impressive of starts, and Gary Sawyer can step up to the plate, and I'd like to see 2 new central defenders.
I've seen Riley pre-season, I didn't know much on him. This last flipping game out here, I don't know what he was doing. I know he just come back off injury. You know, I mean, he wasn't no better than the other guy that we got back there.
Yeah, but as you say, you know, he's just come back from injury, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I've seen him pre-season as well, he was the same.
Yeah, but I know we keep harping on about it, but I don't think the quality of opposition was there to test him enough. You know, and give him a decent run out, and now he's just come back from injury. It's going to take him a few games. I appreciate that, you know, we're running out of games and we need him to get on the pace as quick as possible. But you can't expect somebody to come back from injury, jump in, and within 2 games to be playing, you know. It's going to take a couple of games.
I hope I'm wrong.
You know,
Rumours persist about Oscar Trelkeld.
Oh, that would be good.
I would love to see him come back because he would help secure that defence because he's got the experience.
Would be good, I think.
And if should we lose Sawyer again, he can cover for Sawyer and right back.
So what's your opinion then, guys? How many would you say we need to bring in, and how many do you think we would like to ship out?
I would say at least a couple of defenders at the least,
definitely.
and another creative midfield player, and perhaps somebody else who could play it wide. At the minute, we've got one really out-and-out winger really, because we got Kerry playing on the right, and I think he's better playing in the number 10 rather than where he is now.
Yeah, the trouble with playing Kerry on the right is, and it's just the natural way he is, you know, even when he's on form, he's given licence to wander over the pitch. And when he wanders away from, you know, the right-hand side of the field, that leaves the right back overly exposed, you know, and if you're going to have a right back who's going to be playing on his own, you've got to have someone that's got a lot of pace, that's going to be able to run back with people. You know, if you've got to try and cover two people breaking, you need them to, you know, they're going to need pace. And that's something we ain't got. So we definitely need, I think, a minimum of 3 players. And the more pace they've got, the better. But unfortunately, that's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, and that's always going to be the problem, isn't it? I mean, is he going to get people out to be able to bring people in? Because Lionel Ainsworth seems to be totally out of favour. Greg Boyle's only playing a bit part. Callum Dyson hasn't had a shout, so, you know, are they marketable?
I would love to see Ainsworth get a chance because he's got some pace that other wingers don't, and he's an out-and-out winger. So I've seen him play before, and his crossing is quite good. So if we can get him on the wing, who knows what could happen with carrying the number 10 role.
Is Ainsworth off the Div 1 standard? I don't think so.
The problem with Ainsworth is, I think he's a little bit the same as Lemirius. Lemirius has got the skill. You know, they both got the skill and they both got the pace. The problem is that for me, they're both too inconsistent. You watch Ainsworth one day and he'll have absolutely stonking game, and then he'll have 3 bad ones. So it's a bit like, you know, Lemirius is the same. He'll have a couple of good games, and then he seems to disappear. So it's a consistency, isn't it? If they both play consistently, I think they both be well. I don't know whether they both.
I think Lemires is key. I think Lemires is key. Somehow we've got to get him back in that team playing. He's so key to that team. The skill he's got, most probably more skill than anybody else in the team.
But then who do you sacrifice? Who do you sacrifice if you were to bring Lemires in?
Yeah, that's a big if. You know, maybe you bring somebody in, you got to take somebody out. And that's what it's all about being a manager, I suppose.
Can I just add something to that? Controversial though it may be. Graham Carey's into the last 6 months of his contract.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know what it is with Carey. With me, I'm not his biggest fan, let's say. You know, yes, he's a good player, but to me, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but he just, I don't know, I suppose I liken him to a petulant child. You know, it's my ball, and if I can't have it, I'm not playing. You know, that's the way it seems. And also, yeah, he's got the skill, but when Carey's playing, you watch the other players, and they all want to give the ball to Carey. You know, and if Carey gets marked out of the game, that means we get marked out of the game, and we can't do anything. You know, like it or not, Ladapo, he likes to get the ball, and he likes to do his own thing. Do we need more of that? You know.
Well, I think if Kerry don't play, Argyle don't play, he's so keen, I would say he's Adam's number 1 on the team sheet when he picks a team. I mean, we start with him and then work around it.
But the problem is, he's not been on it, has he? I mean, you know, he's just as bad as half the other players. You know, it's I don't know what it is, whether his heart's not in it or whatever. But you know, yeah, he has flashes during the game where he shows his talent, but it's not consistent enough. Again, is it? And it's not just Carey. It's the whole team. 1 or 2 players have played good on a given day, and then they go missing for a couple of games again. And it's I don't know what it is, but there's something just doesn't seem right within the team.
Well, if you look at Kerry, I reckon if he's had more shots on goal than any other player in that team. Now, I don't know that, but if there's any stats, I'd like to see it. And I would think that he's had more shots than anybody else in the team.
There are stats.
He's I can understand what you said, he's not been on form, but I don't think he stopped from trying. You know, sometimes his shooting's wild, sometimes he scores a good goal. But this season, I would say, he's been the most consistent having shots at the goal.
Yeah, but they're not at the goal, are they? They're near the goal, but they're not at the goal, because if they were at the goal and they were going in, we wouldn't be in the top three.
If you don't buy a raffle ticket,
Yeah, you can say that, mate, but I don't know.
Graham Carey's stats are impressive. He's got more goals and more assists in the last 2 seasons than anyone else in
I would
League One.
think that.
And that was out there quite recently. So to sum that first question up, guys, what do we reckon then? We need a couple of central defenders by the sound of it, a fullback,
That's my opinion.
a midfielder and a striker.
We definitely need someone to help carry the team, because some games, when Kerry and Ladapo are on their form, they're the only ones that I feel like they're carrying the other 9, apart from Macy. I feel like they're having to carry the team in it, but we need someone that could help, because it's alright them being up the top, but they've got no one like in the middle to control things. I say we need someone in the middle to start controlling the games and help get others like Grant, Ladapo, Kerry on the ball.
You could be right with that. It could be that's why Kerry seems to be,
Yeah.
in my opinion, that's why he's not on it. Perhaps he's trying too hard. I don't know. You know, as you say, to try and carry the team or make something happen.
Because to
You
me,
know,
we've
but,
got
but he's definitely, for me, he's not been on it this year at all.
One thing I would add to that team, what it needs is a captain.
Yeah,
A good captain, because we've got no leader in that team. And I think that's a big must that we need for that team.
that may change now. Sawyer's back, but we definitely need someone in the middle to control it.
Gary Sawyer's nice guy, but he's too quiet. Nice guy, but you need somebody like a Watton sort of thing, big man, get everybody together.
Sawyer can be quite manful, because I've heard him pick from like quite close to him. He does boss them around. It's just the middle. Kerry's having to come back to the midfield, get the ball, and then we even further up the pitch. But he's having to be in the back doing the midfielder's job. I say we need someone in the central mid to do like a Kerry type person to help control things and get it out wide and up to Ladapo.
But then isn't that what Fox is for?
Well, you could say that, but I think Fox is a deep defensive midfielder, not an attacking midfielder.
He's more of an holding midfielder, I would think.
We need someone attacking minded, like Sarcevic, but Sarcevic also can play holding.
But could Connor do that role if he's not being pulled in the cover at the fullback? Could Connor go in the middle? Because let's be honest, his distribution from being in the back, and, you know, when he does get the ball, he sprays some loose balls out.
Who's that?
Connor Byrne.
Connor Grant.
That's something that it would be good to see, because if he has, that's one less transfer we got to do, because we've already pushed it up.
Yeah, but then you can't rely on one person, because if
Right.
he gets injured again, then we're back to square one, aren't we? So, like you say, I think we definitely need 3 or 4 players, without a shadow of a doubt. But we need a bit of pace.
Yeah.
I think you're right, and all I would conclude that question by saying is that all the options that we're coming up with,
Is Derek
God help Derek Adams, eh?
He's got a difficult job on his hands, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Some of the crowd hating saying get rid. But I think we should keep him, because look at what he's done in the last couple of years. I think if he had the right players, who knows what we can do.
But then you could say he had the opportunity of getting the right players in the summer, and he failed to do it. But then again, you know, every manager will have players that don't fit the system, or, you know, they don't turn out to be what they think.
Adams has got to be disappointed who he brought in. You know, Dyson's not had a game. You know, you go through it. Like, you know, they've just not been the players that he's thought. Like, you know, who's recommended it? Whether it was Strong, the guy who left, I don't know.
But if we want to become a more attacking team, which you can see that, you can see like the seeds have been sown to, and they're trying to be more attacking. But the problem is, as we go forward, we leave gaping holes at the back. And if you ain't got pace at the back, you're going to get caught out time and time again, and that's exactly what seems to be happening.
Okie dokie, gentlemen. So I think that's. Thank you for your views on that question. Now, I think the next question is going to be topical also. It's how important is Argyle in the community to us fans?
Well, what I think about a football club, core business is winning football games, right? Everything should be geared to that, right? That to my mind, that's the way they think. I go out every Saturday to see Argyle win, okay? Whatever comes around that is a bonus. So long as the winning the football match stays core to the football club, I'll be fairly happy. But I've got my doubts about what currently is going on in Park, if that is the priority.
I'll disagree with you there, because I think the community is very important, because at the end of the day, it's alright you winning football games, but the community is going around trying to help out youngsters that is like dreaming of being a Man U fan. They're going around trying to change them to fans for Argyle to get behind the team and cheer them on. Which I think we need more of.
I'm not saying don't have a community and don't have a community, not nothing to do with Argyle, but my point is that the focus is football is all about winning, picking up 3 points.
Yeah, but in any business, you can't just concentrate on the most important part of you. You've got to have things running in the background for it to be able to succeed. And if you don't get the brand out there, which is what Argyle and the community are doing, if you don't get the brand out there and you don't get people, there's some, these Argyle and the community days, where they're travelling the length and breadth of Devon and Cornwall, to put on displays and, tournaments for kids and, the disabled youngsters and all that sort of business. They're the future of Plymouth Argyle. Not being nasty, Mike, but we ain't going to be here forever, are we?
No,
if they don't go out there and they don't sell the brand, you can walk into any town centre, any school, they're all there with a Man U, Chelsea, Liverpool tops on. How many Argyle tops do you see? Not many. And that's what we've got to do. We need to reach out to the community and we need to be selling the brand of Argyle. Because if you don't sell the brand of Argyle, then we ain't going to be here in another 10, 20 years' time.
The brand of Argyle will only work if Argyle is a football club or winning football club, right? And to make people out there, you set any business, if I'm making them cuts, the priority is to sell as many as them. You have a good background to make it up in the middle, or you can have a good background, but you're not selling anything, you could just go to the wall.
Yeah, exactly. But you've still got to sell that brand in the first place. Because if you don't get people through the door, you can win as many football matches as you like. People ain't just going to turn up if they don't, because, and I've seen it throughout my time. I used to coach kids football. I used to be secretary of a club in Plymouth. A youth club football team, and we used to approach Argyle to try and get tickets to take the lads along, and I'll be honest with you, back in them days, it was easier for us to get tickets to go and watch Aston Villa or Chelsea or somewhere, West Brom. You bring them up and they say, not a problem. How many kids you bringing up? Well, 54 and a coach, no problem, we'll send you the tickets. You ring Argyle, well, we can let you have 5. And every time people used to say about Argyle and right through the football, all the managers, the secretaries of the clubs and everything, even back in them days, and I'll probably get criticised for saying this, even the guys that ran the DJM, if you mentioned it, Argyle, they turned, Argyle, yeah, right. And that's that's a stigma that was attached to Argyle. And if you don't get out there in the community and turn that stigma around, then, it's the future. We've got no future, have we?
Well, I'm inclined to agree with both of you, because I think your point, Brian, are very valid, but if the team is doing well, the brand is easier to sell.
Yeah.
It sells itself, doesn't it? Everybody has a spring in their step, and that then spirals down from the first team to the disabled, to the ladies, to the football in the community trust. Everybody is singing from the same hymn sheet.
But you've got to have that balance, haven't you? It's no point concentrating so much on the football side to make sure that you're only concentrating on having that winning team and forgetting the rest of the infrastructure behind.
If the team's winning, a lot of it up behind it will take care of itself. You will get more support. You will get other things coming into it. But the thing, if the football team's not doing very well and not winning, because that's our core business, that's what a football club's all about, winning football matches,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's what it's all about, right? If they're not winning football matches, everything behind it, people won't be interested.
Well, what do you want to do then? Do you just want to say, well, hang on a minute, we're not winning games, so let's don't worry about the
No, I'm not
let's
just-
concentrate everything on the
I'm
team.
not saying that. What I'm saying is the core business is winning football games. You're not winning football games, the brand's not right, you can forget anything
And the
else
question
beyond
was, what do we think about Argyle in the community? And I'll give my answers to what I think about Argyle in the community.
Yeah, I don't
I
disagree.
appreciate that we've got to be winning games and the product at the other end's got. We all go to be entertained. I don't like this term of we got to win because we're never going to win every game. If you go to football and you get entertained and it's a good game, win, lose or draw, you come home, it's not so bad. You turn up at Argyle like we have in the last few months, and I turn up to Argyle now expecting to lose. And if we win, it's a bonus. That's how it feels to me at the moment.
I didn't say we've got to win. What I said is, I go to Argyle to expect, for them to win, because that's what it's all about.
That's what we all want
Yeah.
at the end of the day, isn't it?
I go to Argyle Saturday, and coming Saturday, I'm thinking that Argyle's going to win. They could be playing Liverpool Saturday. I'm thinking Argyle's going to win. That's what's in my mind.
I think, folks, that we're all agreed in our own way that Argyle in the community is important. It helps when the first team are doing well, and we all want the first team to do well. Simple as
Ultimately,
that.
that's the goal, isn't it?
Simple as that. Moving swiftly on, the Argyle Fans Trust. What are your thoughts on the Fans Trust, and are they as important as perhaps they once were?
I think personally, at the time, they did a fantastic job in helping to secure the future of our football club. And although I never became a member, I was supportive of what they were doing at the time. But I never actually joined because just as I was coming around to the idea of joining, things started to change. And once they started criticising the club, now don't get me wrong, you have to have an opinion, and if a club's not doing things the way they should be, then you should be asking questions. But once you start criticising and alienating the club, which it appears they did on numerous occasions, then I lost all interest in it. And to be honest with you, I think the people that run it are running it for the wrong reasons. But that's my opinion.
I think along those lines, I was a member from the start. Last year, I think I jacked it in because the people that were running it seemed to be running it for a personal thing rather than for the fans. Right, there was nothing positive about what they were doing. Right, I think a good AFT with the right people would be a good thing. Right? If there's the right people running it, but currently I think there's a lot of people in it that they're doing it for their own ends.
I don't know the people involved personally. I've never met. I think I've only met one or two people that have been on the board, shall we say, and both, well, the 2 or 3 actually, and all of those people I think were sold up the river personally, but and they were really great guys. From what I've seen of those that follow, and as I say, I don't know them personally, but it certainly needs to be run a lot better than it has been in the past. I mean, to do things without even voting and contacting their own members for a vote, and just to think make a few phone calls, 6 of us agree, and then say, well, this is what our fans have voted, or the fans have voted for, and they speak for all fans. And I think, well, that's like.
I think it's a shame that you can't have somebody or legislation in all football teams that would safeguard a football club against being sold up to Swanee by an unscrupulous owner. and then you would, you know,
Yeah.
that's what you've got to safeguard. It's having
Yeah, but
somebody there that can step in
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to sell Home Park and turn it into supermarkets
It
or
just-
houses.
It seems to me that the people that were running the fans trust, and again, this is only my personal opinion, each person that was in had an agenda, and once they achieved that agenda, whether it be whatever that agenda be, then they sort of like dropped the baton or wanted to pass the baton to the next person. And to me, that's, you know, whatever. And why over what are we at now? 7 years? 7 years since administration? 8 years, is it?
2010.
2010.
Fans
So eight
Trust on-
years, and how many times has the chairmanship of that board changed? Now let's look at other football clubs, and how many times have the chairmanship of their fans trust changed? You know,
I wouldn't know that.
there doesn't seem to be any stability whatsoever, does there?
I think since Chris Webb's left, it's gone downhill. If you go back to the AFT, right, since Chris Webb has left, there's been different chairmen and it's just gone downhill.
Since we've come out of administration or the last couple of seasons, I haven't seen or heard much of the AFT, which means it can't be that popular because I used to be able to go to every match. They would have a massive marquee, people out with buckets, and now I don't see any of that. I do, yes, I'm there early because I've got to be, but I don't see them when I do get there.
Well, they've got their little stall that you put out in front of the demo, haven't they?
I don't always, I've not seen that for the last
Yeah, they
couple
are
of
there
years.
to be fair, they are there every match.
What's coming along now is this fans assembly. Now, will that interfere with the AFT or will that be a better vehicle for fans?
Well, I think personally it's probably a better vehicle because it's going to be more representative than the whole fan base. For the simple reason is that they're inviting a spokesperson from most of the Argyle. What's the word we're looking for?
Probably good now.
Hmm?
Go on.
Well, you know,
Hierarchy, you could say.
well, the fan groups.
Yeah,
the fan
yeah,
groups, that's
of
what
course.
I'm looking for. So you've got the, you know, whatever, you've got the London Pulse have, haven't you? You know,
And you've got the Cornish,
the
haven't you?
Cornish Brigade, you've got the Senior Green Jordan, you know, the Cornish lads, you've got the guys trapped in Avon or whatever they're called, you know. So, you know,
Those
it's a broader
associations,
spectrum.
those associations that you said,
Yeah.
right? Go through the lot of them, right?
Mhm.
They represent 2,000 to 3,000 fans. What about who's representing the other 5,000? It's not a true representation. They haven't got that message out to get true representation from all the fans.
Well, what they've said is that what they're looking for and aiming, and that's what Simon said in that in the forum the other week, was that he was looking to get maybe a representative from one representative from each of the corners of the ground, so to speak. So you've got the Davenport, the Lyndhurst, Farm Park corner.
So it's going to be interesting times ahead, then, isn't it?
It could
You know,
well
I think
be, yeah.
I think we're agreed almost that the fans trust have served us well in the past, but as we now go into 2019, it may be time to look at things.
They'll
So
no doubt
thanks for
they'll still be going, and they'll have opportunity to put a voice on in, a person in the assembly to give their voice, but it won't be just Argyle and the fans trust, will it? The fans trust speaking for,
No,
which
it'll be
in all fairness is what we were alluding to. We had one, which was the Argyle Trust with what, 500-600 members speaking for 10,000 of us. At least by having 10 people sat round by the table, that dilutes it a little bit, doesn't
They
it?
did have over a couple of thousand, I think, at that time. But going back to the NFT, does anybody here know what the new committee is? Does anybody know? Has it been decided yet what the new committee
Yeah,
is?
there was a post
Don't
on
know.
Does it? Oh, I didn't know that.
There was a
What-
post
what
on
on
there.
their website?
Yeah,
Or for
yeah. I think somebody called Andy Simons is now the
Yeah, I
chair.
heard that, but I
or
don't know what
something.
the rest of the. I don't know if the rest of them have been.
Well, no doubt if you was to go on their website, Michael, then it might be further explained, you know.
I doubt it.
Well, guys, this is a topical question, isn't it?
Politics, isn't it? I
It's
was
a
not thinking
topical
about
question,
that.
and we could probably debate it for a lot longer. But let's go back to the first team very, very quickly then. Starting with you, Michael. What's going to happen this season? Mid-table, flirting with
Well,
relegation, or the dreaded Argyle?
I've had a £20 bet that we'll finish in the top half. Right. Saying that, I think this current team is the poorest team I've ever seen. I've been watching Argyle for 30 years. I think it's the poorest team we've ever had.
No.
If anybody goes from 1 to 11 and tells me that we've got a worse team in that, sorry, you won't come up with a worse 11 than the current lot we don't have.
So
I'm
you're-
really sorry. I don't know. I think
Well, I'm just saying, you
No.
go from 1 to 11,
the
tell
Hodges,
me
the
right
Hodges
about the
era, the
goalkeeper.
Hodges era, you know. I mean, yeah,
Well, he was in goal for
all.
he was in goal.
Yeah, but
He was in goal. Tell me if he was worse than Lacey that we're talking about, Derek.
So where are we going to finish, guys?
I think that if we don't get enough players in during the close season, I think we might just about scrape it. Just about scrape it, but it's going to be squeaky bum time till the end of the season. If we get in 3 or 4 good players, then I think mid-table is probably going to be the best we can hope for this season.
Aaron?
I reckon, should we secure the defence, we've got the goals, I reckon we could scrape 13th for 14th minimum. Because after the new year, it's a whole new load of games. If we've got the right players, who knows what can happen. Look at last year, we nearly got playoffs. And we were, if not similar, if not worse situation at this time of year.
Michael, one word answer. Stay up or going down?
Finish top half.
I think we will stay up. I think we'll be flirting with it, but I think we will stay up. So
Just
let's hope so. Yeah. Right, guys. Next question. Ignoring the law just for a minute, do you think we should be allowed to stand up at the stadium? Should there be a safe standing area?
Yeah,
There's
but
not been.
they're on about as the ground is at the moment. So there's a seat there, so you're not going to get any more people in. You can have one person per seat. It's irrelevant whether they're sat in that seat spreading out or whether they're standing up spreading out. If you've got a row of 20 seats, you're going to put 20 people in those, whether they're sat down or stood up. My personal feeling is they should have designated standing areas, whereas i.e. behind the goal in the Denport, yeah? And if they really insist, what they need to do is say, for argument's sake, for those guys in block 14, to keep them sweet and everybody happy, is maybe have the 3 or 4 rows at the back standing and seated in front. The problem arises where you've got people sitting who have moved this year through whatever reason, and new people, not just the people from the Mayflower, but new people coming in buying season tickets, and you know they're trying to sit down and enjoy the game sitting down, and people in front are standing, and then obviously it causes friction. You know, it frustrates the hell out of me when I go to away games. I've got a bad back and I cannot stand for long periods. So when we go to away games and everybody's standing, it really is, by the end of the day, you know, and even though I'm seated on the coach on the way home, it's so uncomfortable, and my sciatica plays up so much. But then, you know, if people realise that, they may be a little bit more sympathetic. You know, yes, to all intents and purposes, you look able-bodied, but then, you know, other people have got issues where they can't stand for long periods. So it's finding that balance, isn't it? But if they had, you know, areas where they would allow it, as I say, 14, 15, if you had the last 3, 4 rows, everybody else in front had a sit behind the goal, there's not an issue, is there?
I don't think so. I think I'm all for safe standing areas. I think it adds to the atmosphere.
Definitely.
People stand up automatically when you have a near miss or a goal or a major incident. It's automatic. So I think safe standing areas would
Where I'm
enhance it.
standing is definitely better atmosphere, I think. You know, when I was younger, I wouldn't want to sit down. right now, well, I wouldn't want to stand up.
No, I mean,
But I think the atmosphere created is where they're standing. If you go to any of the big games, big stadiums, they're mainly stood up,
yeah,
creating the atmosphere.
yeah.
Now, whether safe standing is going to create the same sort of atmosphere, I'm not sure.
The problem is, though, is going forward, they're looking at if safe standing comes in, to designate one of the corners, one of the, you know, when the corner, when and if the corners get thrown in, and we all hope it happens, designating one of those as safe standing areas. So then, what do? Everybody for that stands behind the goal on the Danport, are they all going to move to that safe standing area, or are they just going to continue standing behind the goal? So, not being funny, but you're going to have exactly the same problem we're having now, because other people is going to say, well, why are they standing behind the goal when you've got a perfectly good safe standing area over there? But they don't want to move, the same as the guys in block 14 don't want to move, they're behind the goal or wherever. So, you know, it's...
Could be a nice problem to have, guys, because that suggested to me that we're going to be doing quite well and we're going to have a lot of people there who are all going to be clamouring for seats.
Depends if we get 4 or 5, 3 or 4 in the window.
Final question, guys, final question. Our team strip. Dark green or light green? You got a preference?
Personally, light green. And I'll base that on when I first watched Argyle, they had light green for no other reason. So I think that's a lot to do with it. I'm not so keen now. I think Simon Hallett said dark green is here to stay.
Yeah, you can understand from their point of view, I suppose, the corporate side of it, you know, and to be honest, that's where the money is, isn't it? So, but my personal opinion is light green, the rotor lock green. To me, that is rotor lock is Argyle green.
I would go. I prefer one to be in the middle, because the dark green to me for night games is too dark, and yet if you're in the sun, the light green is too bright. I reckon we need one that's perfectly in the middle.
Especially when you're awkward.
That's what's called sitting on the fence.
Well, I'm going to conclude that question by saying personally I like the dark. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Looking at the shirt, the home shirt this season with the 2 tones of green, I like the dark. Right. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been interesting, and I think one thing that has come across clearly is that we're all passionate about our football club. Long may it continue.
Say that again.
Thanks,
Merry
Doc.
Christmas to all Argyle fans.
Yeah,
guys.
Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
guys. And let's hope we get some good results in the new year. Come on, Derek, do the business.
Bring Harvey.